There comes a moment in every person's life when the crowd begins to move in one direction, but something deep inside whispers that your path leads somewhere else. That moment is uncomfortable. It feels uncertain. It feels lonely. But more often than not, that is exactly where your transformation begins. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid walking alone because they believe being surrounded by others is the same as being on the right path. It isn't. Sometimes the greatest obstacle to becoming who you're capable of becoming is the constant need to be accepted by people who are comfortable staying exactly where they are. Think about it. How many dreams have been abandoned because someone was afraid of looking different? How many opportunities have been ignored because they didn't come with approval from friends, family, or society? We often mistake agreement for wisdom. We believe that if enough people support our decision, then it must be the right one. But history tells a very different story. Every meaningful achievement began with someone willing to stand apart before the world understood what they were doing. Walking alone doesn't mean rejecting people. It doesn't mean becoming isolated or believing you don't need anyone. It means developing the courage to stay committed to your purpose even when no one else can see what you see. It means learning to trust your vision before it becomes visible to everyone else. That's a difficult lesson because human nature craves approval. We want applause before we've earned it. We want encouragement before we've proven anything. Yet the most important work you'll ever do happens long before anyone notices. There is a remarkable difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness drains your energy because it makes you feel disconnected. Solitude, on the other hand, becomes a workshop where your character is quietly built. It is in those quiet moments that you begin asking better questions. What kind of person do I want to become? What habits are holding me back? What beliefs have I accepted simply because everyone around me believes them? Those are not questions that can be answered in the middle of constant noise. They require silence. They require reflection. They require the willingness to spend time with your own thoughts instead of constantly escaping them. Many people are busy every hour of the day, yet they never truly grow because they never pause long enough to examine themselves. They fill every empty moment with distractions, entertainment, and endless conversations, but personal growth rarely happens in the middle of distraction. Growth happens when you become honest with yourself. It happens when there is nowhere to hide from your own excuses. That kind of honesty is uncomfortable, but it is incredibly valuable because it becomes the starting point for real change. You don't build confidence by hearing people tell you that you're capable. You build confidence by keeping promises to yourself when no one is watching. Every early morning, you choose discipline over comfort. Every evening, you decide to learn instead of waste another hour. Every small commitment you honor becomes another brick in the foundation of your character. No audience is required. No recognition is necessary. Your private victories eventually become your public strength. There will be seasons when people misunderstand your choices. Some will question why you're reading while they're relaxing. They'll wonder why you're working while they're celebrating. They may even criticize the sacrifices you're making because your discipline reminds them of the discipline they've chosen to avoid. Don't let that discourage you. People often criticize what they don't yet understand. They judge today's sacrifice without seeing tomorrow's reward. Remember, the strongest trees don't grow because the weather is easy. They grow because their roots learn to reach deeper during difficult seasons. Your roots are built the same way. Every challenge you face while walking alone teaches you something valuable. It teaches patience because results rarely come quickly. It teaches resilience because not every effort produces immediate success. It teaches self-reliance because you discover that your greatest source of encouragement can come from within. And perhaps most importantly, it teaches clarity. When you stop living to impress everyone else, you finally begin living according to your own highest standards. Don't measure your progress by the number of people walking beside you. Measure it by the person you're becoming with every passing day. Success has never been a popularity contest. It has always been a character contest. The world eventually notices people who quietly dedicate themselves to becoming better. But before the world believes in you, you must believe in yourself enough to continue when the room is silent. So if you're in a season where it feels like you're walking alone, don't assume you're lost. You may simply be traveling the road where leaders, builders, and achievers have always been made. Keep moving forward, keep learning, keep growing. One day, the path that feels lonely today will become the very journey that inspires others tomorrow. Walk alone if you must, but never stop walking. Now, once you've accepted that there will be seasons when you must walk your own path, the next question becomes this: what will keep you moving when the excitement fades? Because let's be honest, enthusiasm is wonderful, but it doesn't stay forever. There are mornings when you wake up energized, ready to conquer the world. Then there are mornings when the alarm feels heavier than your dreams, when your goals seem distant, and every excuse suddenly sounds reasonable. That is the moment that separates those who merely wish for a better life from those who actually build one. The answer is discipline. Discipline is the companion that never abandons you. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. Some days the sun is shining and everything feels possible. Other days the clouds roll in and you begin to question yourself. If your progress depends on how you feel, then your future will always be uncertain. But when your progress depends on discipline, your emotions no longer control your direction. You keep moving because you've made a decision, not because you're in the mood. Think about the people you admire. Whether they're successful in business, athletics, leadership, or any other field, they all have one thing in common. They don't perform only when conditions are perfect. They show up consistently. They do the work when it's exciting, and they do the work when it's repetitive. They continue when no one is cheering, and they continue when no immediate reward is waiting. That consistency is what eventually creates extraordinary results. Too many people are waiting to feel inspired before they act. They say, "I'll start when I feel ready." But readiness is often the result of action, not the beginning of it. You don't become disciplined because life gets easier. Life becomes more manageable because you become disciplined. Every day you delay is another day your future waits on the version of you that hasn't shown up yet. Discipline begins with the smallest decisions. It isn't built in dramatic moments. It's built in ordinary ones. It's choosing to get out of bed when comfort tells you to stay. It's reading 10 pages instead of scrolling endlessly. It's exercising even when your body complains. It's finishing what you started instead of chasing the next exciting idea. These actions seem insignificant in the moment, but they accumulate over time. Just as a single drop of water seems harmless until it carves through stone, your daily habits shape your future one decision at a time. People often underestimate the power of consistency because they expect immediate results. They plant a seed today and want fruit tomorrow. But nature doesn't work that way, and neither does success. Every worthwhile achievement requires patience. There is always a season where nothing appears to be happening. During that season, many people quit because they mistake invisible progress for no progress. What they fail to realize is that roots are growing beneath the surface long before the tree rises above the ground. Your character develops in exactly the same way. Every disciplined choice strengthens something inside you that cannot always be measured immediately. You're building trust with yourself. You're proving that your word matters. When you tell yourself you'll do something and then follow through, you begin creating an identity that is reliable. And once you trust yourself, your confidence stops depending on outside approval. This is why keeping promises to yourself is so important. If you constantly break the commitments you make to yourself, eventually you stop believing your own intentions. But every promise you keep becomes evidence that you are becoming someone who can be counted on, not just by others, but by yourself. That inner confidence is far more valuable than temporary excitement because it remains steady regardless of circumstances. Of course, discipline doesn't mean perfection. There will be days when you stumble. You'll make mistakes. You'll lose momentum. Everyone does. The disciplined person isn't someone who never falls. The disciplined person simply refuses to stay down. They understand that one missed day doesn't define them. One bad decision doesn't erase months of progress. They learn the lesson, make the adjustment, and continue forward without wasting time drowning in regret. Remember, every excuse has a cost. The comfort you choose today often becomes the frustration you live with tomorrow. Every time you avoid responsibility, you're quietly giving away a piece of the future you say you want. On the other hand, every time you embrace responsibility, even when it's difficult, you're investing in a future that will eventually reward your persistence. There is something incredibly powerful about becoming the kind of person who does what needs to be done regardless of circumstances. That kind of person doesn't need constant reminders, endless encouragement, or perfect conditions. Their habits carry them forward. Their routines protect them when emotions fluctuate. Their discipline becomes a source of freedom because they no longer depend on fleeting motivation to live with purpose. And here's the beautiful part. Discipline doesn't just change what you accomplish. It changes who you become. The rewards are certainly worthwhile, but the greatest reward is the transformation taking place inside you. Every challenge you overcome makes you stronger. Every temptation you resist makes you wiser. Every commitment you honor makes your character more solid than it was yesterday. As you continue walking your own path, remember this. The world may not notice your quiet discipline today, but your future will be built by it. Success isn't created by occasional bursts of effort. It's created by ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary consistency. Master your discipline and your destiny will begin to master itself. Once you've learned to walk your own path and built the discipline to keep moving forward, another challenge appears, one that quietly holds more people back than failure ever could. It is the need for validation. The desire to be accepted, approved, and applauded can become a prison if you're not careful. Many people never become the person they were capable of becoming because they spend their lives trying to become the person everyone else expects them to be. Think about how much energy people waste worrying about opinions. They hesitate to start a business because someone might laugh. They avoid speaking up because someone might disagree. They refuse to chase a dream because they're afraid of disappointing people who never had the courage to chase their own dreams. It's amazing how often we hand over control of our future to people who aren't responsible for living our lives. Here's something worth remembering. The people whose opinions matter most are usually too busy building their own lives to spend much time judging yours. The rest are often spectators, offering advice from the sidelines while never stepping onto the field themselves. If you allow every opinion to influence your direction, you'll spend your entire life-changing course instead of making progress. There comes a point when you have to ask yourself a simple question. Am I living according to my values? Or am I living according to someone else's expectations? Those are two very different lives. One leads to fulfillment. The other leads to frustration. Because no matter how hard you try, you will never satisfy everyone. Someone will always think you're aiming too high. Someone else will think you're not doing enough. Some will criticize you for changing, while others will criticize you for staying the same. If criticism is inevitable, then you might as well earn it while pursuing a life that truly matters to you. The truth is, confidence doesn't come from compliments, it comes from competence. It comes from proving to yourself, day after day, that you can do difficult things. Every time you finish what you started, every time you overcome a challenge, every time you keep a promise to yourself, you're building something far more valuable than approval. You're building self-respect. Self-respect cannot be borrowed. It cannot be purchased. It cannot be given to you by friends, family, or strangers. It must be earned through your own actions. That's why people who depend on outside validation often feel empty. Even when they receive praise, it only lasts for a moment. Soon they're searching for the next compliment, the next approval, the next sign that they're good enough. But when your confidence is built from within, it becomes steady. It no longer rises and falls based on applause. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're ready. Very few opportunities arrive with complete certainty. Most of life requires faith before proof. If you wait until every doubt disappears, you'll spend years standing still. The people who accomplish remarkable things aren't fearless. They've simply decided that their purpose is more important than their fear. And while we're talking about responsibility, let me share something that can completely change the direction of your life. The day you stop blaming is the day you start growing. It's easy to point at circumstances. It's easy to point at the economy, your upbringing, your past, your lack of opportunities, or the people who disappointed you. Perhaps some of those things are real. Perhaps life has treated you unfairly. But no amount of blame has ever improved anyone's future. The most powerful words you can say are these. The responsibility begins with me. Those words are not a burden, they're freedom. Because the moment you accept responsibility, you also reclaim the power to change. If your habits created your current results, then new habits can create new results. If poor decisions brought unwanted consequences, then better decisions can build a better future. Responsibility doesn't trap you. It releases you from waiting for someone else to rescue your life. This is why personal growth is such an individual journey. Other people can encourage you. They can teach you. They can inspire you, but no one can do your thinking for you. No one can develop your discipline for you. No one can make your choices for you. Every meaningful improvement begins the moment you decide that your future is your responsibility. As you continue building yourself, you'll notice something remarkable. The less you chase approval, the more authentic you become. You begin making decisions based on principles instead of popularity. You stop comparing your progress to everyone else's timeline. You stop measuring your worth by social recognition. Instead, you focus on becoming just a little wiser, a little stronger, and a little better than you were yesterday. That kind of mindset is liberating. It gives you permission to grow at your own pace. It allows you to celebrate quiet victories that nobody else sees. It reminds you that your greatest competition has never been another person. Your greatest competition is the person you were yesterday. One day, people may admire the confidence they see in you. They'll call you courageous. They'll say you seem unshakable. What they won't always see are the countless private moments when you chose growth over comfort, responsibility over excuses, and purpose over popularity. Those invisible choices are what create visible success. So stop waiting for the world's permission to become the person you were created to be. The approval that matters most is earned when you can look in the mirror, knowing you stayed true to your purpose and gave your very best. Build your character so deeply that you no longer need anyone else's applause to know you're on the right path. By this point in your journey, you've begun walking your own path. You've learned to rely on discipline instead of temporary motivation. You've stopped chasing approval and started building genuine self-respect. But now life introduces another teacher, one that very few people welcome, yet everyone eventually meets. That teacher is adversity. Most people pray for success, but they also pray to avoid difficulty. Unfortunately, those two requests rarely go together. The very qualities that make a person successful, patience, resilience, wisdom, courage, and perseverance, are almost always developed through challenges. You don't build strength by carrying nothing. You build strength by carrying weight. The heavier the responsibility, the stronger you become if you refuse to quit. When life becomes difficult, it's easy to believe that something has gone wrong. We begin asking, why is this happening to me? But perhaps there's a better question. Instead of asking why it's happening to you, ask what it's preparing you for. That simple shift changes everything. Suddenly, obstacles stop looking like barriers and start looking like training. Think about how a blacksmith shapes a piece of steel. The steel doesn't become stronger by sitting comfortably on a shelf. It is heated, hammered, folded, and tested again and again until it becomes something far more valuable than it was before. If that steel could speak, it might complain about the heat and the pressure. Yet without them, it would never become strong enough to serve its purpose. People are no different. Every disappointment has something to teach you if you're willing to learn. Every setback contains a lesson that success alone could never provide. Failure has a remarkable way of revealing weaknesses we didn't know existed. It exposes poor habits, careless thinking, lack of preparation, and unrealistic expectations. That may feel uncomfortable, but discomfort is often the doorway to growth. Too many people allow one failure to define their identity. They fail at something and immediately conclude, I'm a failure. Those are two completely different things. Failing is an event. Being a failure is a decision. One is temporary. The other only becomes permanent if you stop trying. Every accomplished person has collected disappointments along the way. The difference is they refuse to let temporary defeat become a permanent conclusion. Rejection can be painful as well. Whether it's losing an opportunity, hearing someone say no, or watching a door close that you desperately wanted to open, rejection has a way of making you question your worth. But remember this, rejection is often protection. Sometimes the opportunity you lose today is making room for something greater tomorrow. Other times, rejection simply forces you to improve until you're ready for the next opportunity. Either way, it doesn't have to become the end of your story. Criticism is another challenge you'll face as you continue to grow. Interestingly, people often become more critical the moment they notice you're changing. As long as you stay comfortable and predictable, everyone is content. But once you begin improving yourself, pursuing bigger goals, or refusing to settle, some people become uncomfortable. Your progress reminds them of possibilities they've ignored. Instead of allowing your growth to inspire them, they may try to discourage yours. Don't let that surprise you. You cannot allow criticism to determine your direction. Listen carefully enough to learn, but never surrender your purpose to someone else's opinion. Constructive criticism can make you better. Destructive criticism should simply make you stronger. Learn to separate the two. Wisdom accepts correction, but confidence refuses unnecessary discouragement. One of the greatest gifts adversity gives you is perspective. Problems have a way of revealing what truly matters. The little things that once stole your peace suddenly lose their importance. Difficult seasons teach gratitude because you begin appreciating things you once overlooked. They teach humility because you realize how much there is still to learn. They teach compassion because you understand what it feels like to struggle. And perhaps most importantly, adversity introduces you to yourself. It's easy to believe you're patient when nothing is testing your patience. It's easy to believe you're courageous when nothing is asking you to face fear. Character isn't discovered during easy seasons. It is revealed during difficult ones. Pressure doesn't create your character from nothing. It exposes what has been developing inside you all along. That's why discipline, responsibility, and personal growth are so important. They prepare you long before the storm arrives. There will be moments when progress seems painfully slow. You may wonder whether all your effort is worth it. During those moments, don't judge your future by your current circumstances. Remember that a seed spends a long time growing beneath the surface before anyone sees the first sign of life. Just because others cannot see your progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Keep showing up, keep learning, keep adjusting. Every challenge you overcome leaves you stronger than before. Every obstacle you refuse to surrender to becomes another layer of confidence that no one can take away. Over time, you'll begin looking back at the very experiences you once wished to avoid, realizing they shaped the person you are becoming. The strongest people are not those who have lived the easiest lives. They are the ones who refused to let hardship make them bitter. Instead, they allowed it to make them wiser, kinder, more disciplined, and more determined. They discovered that every difficult season eventually passes, but the strength gained during that season remains for a lifetime. So when adversity comes, and it will, don't greet it with fear. Greet it with the quiet confidence of someone who understands that every challenge carries the seed of greater strength. The road may become steeper, but so will your capacity to climb it. Every obstacle you overcome becomes proof that you are becoming the person your future requires. After you've learned to walk your own road, embrace discipline, stop depending on the approval of others, and discovered that adversity can become your greatest teacher, there's one final habit that separates those who merely survive from those who truly thrive. It is the decision to invest in yourself every single day, not occasionally, not only when you feel inspired. Every day, most people understand the importance of investing money. They spend years trying to grow a bank account, build a business, or acquire possessions. Yet they often overlook the investment that produces the greatest return of all, the investment in the person they become. Your income can disappear. Your possessions can be lost. Markets can rise and fall. But the knowledge you gain, the character you build, and the skills you develop remain with you wherever you go. No one can take those away. Here's a principle that has stood the test of time. Your life rarely rises above your level of personal development. If you want better results, become a better person. If you want greater opportunities, prepare yourself to recognize and seize them. Too many people ask for success without asking what kind of person success requires them to become. They chase the reward while ignoring the transformation that makes the reward possible. Think about the people who continually improve their lives. They are curious. They never stop learning. They understand that education doesn't end when school does. In fact, some of the most important lessons you'll ever learn won't come from a classroom. They'll come from books you choose to read, conversations you choose to have, mentors you choose to listen to, and experiences you choose to embrace. Every day offers an opportunity to expand your thinking if you're willing to remain a student. Never believe you've learned enough. The moment you think you know everything is the moment you stop growing. Humility keeps the mind open. It allows you to listen more carefully, observe more closely, and discover ideas that can completely change the direction of your life. Every successful person I've ever admired maintained the attitude of a lifelong learner. They understood that growth is not an event. It's a lifestyle. Now, learning is important, but knowledge without action has very little value. Reading 10 books won't change your life if you never apply a single lesson. Listening to inspiring messages won't make you successful unless those messages influence your daily choices. Information is only powerful when it becomes implementation. Every idea must eventually become a habit. Every lesson must eventually become a decision. This is where small improvements become so important. People often underestimate tiny changes because they don't produce dramatic results overnight. Reading 10 pages each day seems insignificant until you finish dozens of books in a year. Exercising for 30 minutes doesn't transform your body in a week, but imagine the difference after several years of consistency. Saving a small amount each month may seem slow, but time has a remarkable way of multiplying disciplined actions. Success is rarely built through giant leaps. More often, it's built through thousands of small, intelligent decisions repeated over and over again. That's encouraging because it means you don't have to change your entire life today. You simply need to make today's choices a little better than yesterday's. Improvement compounds. Just as interest grows in a financial investment, personal growth grows through consistency. Another investment you must protect is your mindset. Be careful about what you allow into your mind every day. The conversations you entertain, the books you read, the media you consume, and the people you spend time with all influence your thinking. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you continually plant will eventually grow. If you constantly feed it fear, doubt, negativity, and excuses, don't be surprised when those become your reality. But if you feed it wisdom, hope, discipline, gratitude, and possibility, your life begins to reflect those qualities instead. That doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means choosing your focus wisely. Every day presents reasons to complain and reasons to grow. Every challenge offers an excuse to quit and an opportunity to improve. The direction of your attention often determines the direction of your life. Successful people are not successful because they avoid problems. They become successful because they train themselves to look for solutions instead of dwelling on obstacles. Never compare your progress to someone else's. Everyone's journey unfolds at a different pace. Someone may appear to be ahead of you today, but you have no idea what battles they've faced or what sacrifices they've made. Your responsibility isn't to outrun everyone else. Your responsibility is to keep becoming a better version of yourself. Measure your life against your own potential, not against someone else's highlight reel. As you continue investing in yourself, you'll notice something remarkable. Opportunities begin to appear that others overlook. Why? Because you've prepared yourself to recognize them. Luck often looks like preparation meeting opportunity. While others are waiting for circumstances to improve, you've been improving yourself. And when the right door opens, you're ready to walk through it. Because you've already done the work. In private, remember, the person you become is always more important than the things you accumulate. Wealth is valuable, but wisdom is priceless. Achievement is rewarding, but character is enduring. Titles may impress people for a season, but integrity earns respect for a lifetime. Build yourself first and everything else has a stronger foundation to stand on. So make a commitment today that no matter where life takes you, you will never stop learning, never stop improving, and never stop investing in the greatest asset you'll ever possess. Every page you read, every skill you develop, every habit you strengthen, and every lesson you apply is shaping a future that cannot be built by accident. The greatest investment you will ever make is the one that transforms the person staring back at you in the mirror. As we bring this journey together, I want you to step back for a moment and look at everything we've talked about. We began with the courage to walk alone, because growth often starts in solitude. We discovered that discipline is far more dependable than motivation. We learned to stop chasing approval and start earning self-respect. We embraced adversity as a teacher instead of an enemy, and we made the commitment to invest in ourselves every single day. None of these lessons stand alone. Together, they form the foundation of a life that cannot easily be shaken. Now comes the question that determines everything else. Will you keep walking? Because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is rarely talent. It is rarely intelligence. It is rarely luck. More often than people realize, the difference is simply that one person keeps going while another decides to stop. The finish line doesn't always belong to the fastest person. It often belongs to the person who refuses to quit. Success has a quiet rhythm to it. It doesn't usually arrive with fireworks or dramatic announcements. It grows slowly, almost unnoticed. One disciplined day becomes one disciplined week. One disciplined week becomes one disciplined month. Then one day you look back and realize you've become someone you could hardly recognize a few years earlier. The transformation wasn't created by one spectacular moment. It was created by thousands of ordinary decisions made with extraordinary consistency. Too many people give up because they expect life to reward them immediately. They work hard for a short time, and when the results don't arrive as quickly as they hoped, they convince themselves that their effort isn't working. But life doesn't operate on our preferred schedule. Every worthwhile achievement demands patience. The farmer understands this. He plants the seed, prepares the soil, waters faithfully, and waits. He doesn't dig up the seed every week to see if it's growing. He trusts the process. You must learn to trust your own process as well. There will be days when your progress feels invisible. There will be moments when you're tempted to compare yourself with people who seem to be moving ahead more quickly. Resist that temptation. Comparison steals both gratitude and momentum. Someone else's success does not reduce your potential. Their journey is different from yours. Your responsibility is not to copy another person's path. Your responsibility is to become the very best version of yourself. Remember, life is not asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be persistent. Perfection is impossible, but persistence is available to everyone. You don't have to make every decision flawlessly. You don't have to avoid every mistake. You simply have to keep getting back up. Every time you choose to continue after disappointment, you're strengthening something inside yourself that success alone could never develop. Resilience becomes your greatest advantage because life will always test those who are pursuing meaningful goals. There is another truth that many people overlook. Success isn't only about reaching a destination. It's about the person you become while pursuing it. Imagine achieving every goal you ever dreamed of, but becoming dishonest, bitter, impatient, or selfish along the way. Would that truly be success? I don't believe so. Lasting success is built on character. It allows you not only to reach the top, but also to remain there with integrity. That's why your daily choices matter so much. Every decision is casting a vote for the person you're becoming. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, courage over fear, learning over comfort, responsibility over blame, and perseverance over quitting, you're shaping your identity. Eventually, those choices become habits. Those habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. Don't underestimate the power of one day. One day of focused effort may not seem extraordinary, but one day repeated hundreds of times becomes a remarkable life. Never dismiss today's opportunity because it appears small. Great lives are rarely built through dramatic breakthroughs alone. They're built through ordinary days lived with uncommon purpose. One of the most rewarding moments you'll ever experience is realizing that you no longer recognize the person who once doubted everything. The fears that used to control you become smaller. The excuses that once sounded convincing lose their power. The habits that once seemed impossible become part of who you are. That transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens because you kept walking when stopping would have been easier. And here's the beautiful part. When you commit to this way of living, your life begins to influence others without you even trying. Your family notices your consistency. Your friends notice your discipline. Your coworkers notice your attitude. Your example begins giving people permission to believe that change is possible. Not because you preach to them, but because you live the message every single day. Years from now, people may look at your success and assume it happened quickly. They'll see the results, but they won't see the mornings you chose discipline over comfort. They won't see the evenings you spent learning while others wasted time. They won't see the disappointments you quietly endured, the failures you learned from, or the lonely seasons that strengthened your resolve. But you'll remember every step, and those steps will make the destination even more meaningful. So wherever you are today, don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait until fear disappears. Don't wait until everyone believes in you. Begin where you are, use what you have, and keep moving with purpose. Every challenge you've faced has prepared you. Every lesson you've learned has equipped you. Every disciplined choice you've made has brought you closer to the life you're capable of creating. The road may not always be easy, but it is always worth walking if it leads you toward becoming your best self. Keep your vision clear, keep your standards high, and keep taking the next step. One day you'll realize that success was never chasing you. It was waiting for the person you were becoming. Keep walking, keep building, and never give up on the person you're becoming.